Yeah, I got it. There we go. Hello, everybody. Thanks for stopping by and listening a little bit about the Panama trip here. As Steve mentioned, the COVID kind of put a cap on this trip originally. I had it planned back in 2019, the summer of 2019. And then it was postponed to 2020, but COVID was in full gear and we weren't able to do that trip. So then last year we were finally able to do it. And primarily I was going down to find the harpy eagle, which I did not, but that's okay. There's other opportunities for that bird later on. Anyhow, we had a great time down there, and I'm going to go over a bunch of information here, and I don't know if a lot of people have gone down to Central America to do any birding, or South America, but it's one of the things I enjoy doing. If I'm not birding in Arizona, I like to travel down to Mexico. It's very close to us, and we have a trip this year going down to see the thick-billed parrot, which is a rare parrot that lives in the state of Chihuahua in the town of Madera. So that's planned for this September, after Tucson Audubon has their Southwestern Festival. So I've been working with Tucson Audubon for years now. We have a birdathon coming up, raising money for preservation of habitat for birds and things like that. We try to find as many birds as we can in a day. I think our highest record is like 178, something like that. And anyhow, so we do surveys for elegant trogans that we have here. Elegant trogan, I don't know if you can see, there we go. That's the elegant trogan male right there. That's what we're known for. The red-faced warbler, things like that. And we also survey.
We're not seeing that. We're still seeing the sloth.
Oh, can you see me?
Yep.
You can. Can you see this?
Oh, sorry, that's my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. I'm going to show a couple books on Panama first, and then anyhow, we do surveys for chestnut collar longspurs in the grasslands and things like that. So we protect these areas down in southeastern Arizona from development. It's a huge place. A lot of birders come from all over the world to see our birds down here. So if you get a chance, come on down. Anyhow, so before I get into the trip to Panama, you have to do the research on the birds. I wanted to give you some books that we used before we went, and this book right here is The Birds of Panama. It's an older book, and there are so many birds that, excuse me, that's the changing of the class bell. Anyhow, there are so many bird books. There's one particular guide that we use when we travel, but this is one of them that I had on hand. It's an older guide, but it's still good. And a lot of times, I don't know if other people have done this, but they take out these plates in the book when they travel. Let's see, there's the camera. And they rip those out and then they put those together. I think that's kind of sacrilege. I don't like to do that, but I have some friends who do that, and it just helps them minimize the space in the backpack or into the suitcase. The other one that it's a new one that just came out. This is a great one. This is The Birds of Central America. This one, along with the help of eBird, helped me put all of these books, all these species together. And so I did bring this one with me, and it was useful. I just brought it on my carry-on. And then each of us, there were four of us in the group. Each of us brought one of the guides from Panama or from Central America, and we all shared our different guides together at night when we went over the birds we saw. So anyhow, the first slide we're looking at, this is a Hoffman's sloth. It's the two-toed sloth. As you can see in the very front there, there's two claws hanging over that branch there in the front. This is right in Panama City, and we're gonna start off with Panama City as we fly in there. So I want to move to this next screen. Okay, so I wanted to take a look at several locations I've been to that are really great for birding and for some really nice endemics. Panama City is a fantastic place to go. It's easy to get around. It uses the US dollar, but there's a lot of a lot of good technology, up-to-date things that help birders out. And it's overall a fairly safe city to travel around in and get these accommodations. But, you have to be careful in some spots, especially around the airport. But they have some great hotels there that'll pick you up from the airport. We'll talk about that in just a moment. The next city that everyone goes to that's on the list is Gamboa. We'll go to Gamboa. We'll take a look at some of the birds in Gamboa. And I'll show you some. I don't know if people eBird over there, but I do have some eBird checklists that I can share with you and show you what kind of species we have. Boquete is a northern province. It's close to the Costa Rican border, so you get a lot of the Costa Rican high mountain bird species there, and it's also in the coffee area. So you've got misty, rainy weather, so it attracts a different group of birds. Then we go over to the Caribbean to Bocas del Toro, and I'll talk about that. These are very disconnected. They're not on the route. You have to specifically choose one or the other. And the last two, Koiba Island, on my first trip, I had to pick between Koiba Island and the Darien, and I didn't have enough money to do both. So what I did was I planned to go to Koiba Island. We have a friend there who took us across to the Koiba Island, and there are some endemics on that island that people go for, like the spine-tail, the Koiba spine-tail. And there's some other species like monkeys, howler monkeys, that are endemic to that particular island, only found there. And then the Darien Gap is the one we just did this summer. And that one I'm going to go over specifically with you all, because that took a little bit more organization to put together. And you can't just go to the Darien without maybe organizing something through another company. And I'll give you all that information. But all of these other places I did on my own. I birded and had a lot of fun with. So these are the places we're going to go over. So the first one, this is birding Panama. I just wanted to show you, I have several videos here and I'll narrate through those as we go to them. And our first one today is Panama Birds. And this was from my 2011 trip. Let me see here. Okay, I just hit that. I think that should work. How do I? Oh, I see up here. This is what we do. Oh, here we go here. All right. Okay, so the birds of Panama. One of the things is this is taken straight out of Panama City. That's the rufous and white wren. We have a lesser kiskadee here. These are all nearby, Panama and Gamboa. This is taken in Gamboa, which is 45 minutes from Panama City. So easy to get there. This is in Panama City, the brown pelicans, along with neotropic cormorants in the video. And I'll tell you what those hotspots are. Wattled jacana. Those are seen down in Gamboa and also in Panama City. And you can see they have kind of an ugly face, but cool birds. Crimson Tanager, crimson back Tanager. And then we're at the Discovery Center. This Panama Rainforest Discovery Center in Gamboa is fantastic. There we had snail kites. This guy sat right next to me on the park, or on the bench that they had there overlooking the water area. This is from the pipeline road, the famous pipeline road. I'll go over all those hot spots. The whooping motmot from the park that's there in Panama City. Got a lot of hummingbirds. This is at the Panama Rainforest Discovery Center in Gamboa. Fantastic, really, really nice numbers of hummingbirds there if you're into hummingbirds. We have violet-chested hummingbirds. We have the long-billed hermit and other things. This is Anhinga, the snake bird. And that was taken in Gamboa, although they're at the city parks in Panama as well. Panama City, when I say Panama. Purple gallinule. I remember seeing this bird, having a drink, thinking, what is this? A purple duck. And it usually is pretty skittish, but this one was out in the open. Black vultures, we have plenty of those. This is taken from Koiba Island. Black vultures are everywhere in Panama. the magnificent frigate bird flying over Koiba Island. Again, magnificent frigate birds breed along the coast. A juvenile lance-tailed manakin. That was my spark bird that got me excited. Common blackhawk. This is the bare-throated tiger heron. And it was doing a hop dance on the beach, trying to get some food, trying to get some crabs to come out. There's my spark bird, the lance-tailed manakin. Beautiful bird. And these turkey vultures were fascinating to me. They bounce like a ball on ground. Keel-billed toucan. That's one of the toucan species you can get in Panama. There's several. A juvenile yellow-headed caracara. Those are everywhere. The Montezuma oropendula, a banana kit or banana quit. I don't know how they pronounce. Aracari. That is a northern jacana, I think. This is the snowy bellied hummingbird. I'll have more information on all of these species in just a bit here. This is in Panama City. Oh, and these guys, these are all over the place. The blue-gray tanager everywhere. It's a common bird. So anyhow, so that's that. So we'll move on here to the next. Where's my presentation? Okay, and from current slide. Okay, so what we're looking at here is this is from the park that everyone likes to go birding. You'll have the rufous and white wren that's there, very common bird. You'll have a bunch of species of monkeys there. We have Joffrey's Tamarind that's there. And to get there, basically what you have to do, you fly in to the airport and you could have your hotel pick you up. There's a name of a hotel we stayed at. We just birded the first day at the hotel, just a lot of great birds around there. We had euphonias, thick-billed euphonias, which was a life bird for me at the time. Tanagers, parakeets, you name it. It was all there. So we arrived at the Tucson airport. We stayed at the Riande Hotel. This Riande is great because it'll pick you up. And if you go through a company, then they'll have you stay there. And the grounds are great. There's a lot of really, really nice birding around there. And they have easy transportation. You can either use the hotel transportation, you can use Lyft or Uber. You could use all kinds of things to get around the city. I know all the birders utilized, they use Lyft and Uber, some of them. We had a person, just a chaperone, someone who took us around the city to get to some of these hot spots. Now, we only had enough time to do 2 of these because we only spent 1 day in Panama City. So we broke it down. We did the morning at the Parque Metropolitano, which is a real popular place for birds. And then the next one that I like to do is the Amador Causeway, which is by the Smithsonian Museum. It's a beautiful museum and it goes out. It's a long stretch that goes out into the ocean. I want to click on this checklist here. Let's take a look at that and kind of show you where it is in relationship to everything. So here's the map. And you can see it's a green space. Can you see the map? The full see. So here's what's that?
Yeah, we can see the map. No
Okay,
problem.
perfect. Thank you. So this is Panama City here, and it goes all along the stretch. Lots of homes, but there's a lot of green space, and this is one of the green spaces where then it starts to go out this way. We have the Panama Canal here, and right over here, right over in this stretch, that's where Gamboa is. So a lot of people, they fly into the airport here, take it to the hotel. The hotel's like right around here. And then you just cut across the city and you go to this beautiful park here, which is maybe about 20 minutes away by taxi or whatnot. And you go here and there's this beautiful area where you can walk around the park and get all these wonderful birds. And on top of the hill, there's an elevation here. You can see the city from there and it is a fantastic view. So what we have, just at this park, we had 25 species. It was raining. Now, I'm going to tell you some things. The summertime, it's hot and wet and moist, and it is miserable a lot of times. So we do our Morning walks before the rain happens, which is generally around 11 or 12 o'clock. I will tell you, most people go birding in the winter during dry season. A lot of European birders head out during that time for their birding trip. As a teacher, I have the summer, so I work with what I have. So we have gray-headed chachalaca, magnificent frigate bird. This is my friend Gordon and I, we do a lot of birding together. We do a lot of trips. This is the keel-billed toucan, fantastic bird. Let me move this out of the way here. One of black-crowned antshrike. This is a nice bird. Now the antshrike group and the antbirds, they're real tricky. They're very secretive. You'll hear them, but you really have to keep your eyes out for them. And sometimes they'll come out and pop out in the open. This is the female here. Oh, and the group of the trickiest birds of all are the wood creepers. These are the hardest ones to ID for some people. For myself, wood creepers are not my forte. This is the olivaceous. It is olivaceous, so that one makes it an easier one to identify. That was there. The streak-headed wood creeper. There's a nice shot of that one. Let's see, what do we got here? There's so I had seen this bird back in 2011, but my friends had not. So this was a lifer for them. I recognized the call. I'm really good with my ear birding, and this is the lance-tailed manakin. Just look at all these wonderful birds just real close to the hotel that you can get. One of my favorite, this was a lifer for me this past summer, the southern Bentville. I've seen the northern one, but the southern one, this was a treat. They're a little bit different from each other. And the lighting, of course, if you're a photographer and you like birds, can be real challenging. And finally down here, be careful. There's the white-shouldered tanager and there's a white-lined tanager, and they're very similar. In the Caribbean, it's often the white-lined tanager. It has a slender white on the wing, and then the white-shouldered has much more white on the shoulder. So there's a lot of species of tanagers in Panama. And as you can see, there's quite, and then there's this one too. This Ismian Wren. We'll look at that one in just a moment here. All right, so the Parque Metropolitano, I highly recommend it. Great spot to check out. And then this is the Amador Causeway. And this one, and it's real close to the park as well. I'll blow this up here. And what this is by the Smithsonian Museum. Everything in Panama, there's so many places that have Smithsonian involved, and they're obviously doing research on wildlife. If you go to Gamboa, you'll see that there. This is the museum right here. And if you're looking for water birds, you want to see some of the terns and whatnot, you just walk down, you can walk down this way and bird all the way down the stretch here. We took a car up and down. So we just basically birded. And then there's like in these little green stretches here, there's quite a few birds that you can find. There's, what do they call them? Seed eaters. A big group of seed eaters down there, about 3 or 4 different species. And there's a Smithsonian area here where you can go and you can bird within this area. And there were a lot of wonderful birds down this road here. You go in here and you can go into this park area and do some birding in this spot. So real nice. And then you get out here, you have hummingbirds, you have all kinds of things. So and then if you want to have lunch or catch lunch, there's a nice group of restaurants right down here that you can go to and visit. So anyhow, so that's that. All right. Now, going back here. So that's basically Panama City. It's a lot of good birding, but a lot of times if you're going to be picked up by a company or whatnot, they'll pick you up at your airport and you got a day or a half a day to do some birding in Panama City. And then generally most people just go straight to Gamboa. Here's the Amador Causeway. We had some raccoons that came to visit us. You're there just to look for all kinds of birds. But I highly recommend it. If you have one spot you have to go to the Parque Metropolitano de Panama. That is a really, really good spot. All right. And on the Amador Causeway, some of the birds we saw there was the barred antshrike. Let me see, got my bird list here. We had the barred antshrike, the yellow-headed caracara. This was just right on the causeway. This bird here is very common in Arizona, Central America, Mexico. It's the great-tailed grackle. They're everywhere. Crimson-backed tanager, beautiful, beautiful bird. Let's see here. What else do we have? The Ismian Wren. This one's kind of secretive, so it's a little bit tricky. Here's the thick-billed euphonia that I had at my hotel. And then, of course, we have the orange-chinned parakeets. The orange-chinned parakeet, they fly around in flocks and are the most common parakeet that will be seen in the city. Some other birds, like foreign birds that you might see, are things like saffron finch, house sparrows. They're all there in the city. Once you get out of the city, house sparrows become somewhat of a rarity, which is actually kind of good. All right. Here's from the Parque Metropolitano. I cannot tell you, the photography is a challenge, but it is absolutely beautiful. If you have mud boots, bring some mud boots with you. So let's take a look here. It was raining, so we had our umbrellas with us at all times to protect our gear. We had some bags that we put over the cameras to protect the gear. This is the palm tanager, absolutely common bird, just like the blue-gray tanager. But this one posed so well, I took a picture. This is a neat bird, palm tanager. This is the Joffrey's Tamarind. There's a family that lives at this park, probably several, 2 or 3, because it's large enough for that. This right here, this bird on the lower left side of the screen is the whooping motmot. It is a really nice bird to get because there's not a lot of locations where you can see them out in the open. You'll always hear them. You'll hear a whoop, whoop, that's where they get that name, the whooping motmot. And you get this whoop. And if you hear that, that indicates that that's the motmot. This is from the Blue Crown Motmot complex. There's several species that were broken off a few years ago. The whooping motmot is its own species now. And it's a great place to see them down at the Parque Metropolitano in Panama City. Here's our southern Bentville. And we are looking at, my friends here, Ernie and Gordon, are looking, I think, at some termite nests. Those are really neat. They have quite a few examples of that. There are a lot of really, really nice things to see at this park. I highly recommend it. If you go, you have a half day, spend it there. All right. I'm going to show this video here. This is the next one. This is just an overview. You're going to see images of Panama City. So when you're flying in, let me just back up here, go back to 2011. There was no coastline. They had developed a bunch of things here. And since, it's been 10 years or 11 years, 10 years ago, when I came back and I saw all of this, they've reestablished the habitat, the ecosystem here. So the wetlands are back along the coast, which is really wonderful. That was really neat to see. And that's why I took this picture, because this green area was not there. It all just kind of went to the airport, which is right over here on the right side of the screen where the plane is about to land. But when I saw this really made me happy. This is really good habitat for a lot of, the ocean coastal species that live in North America. All right. Whoops, we don't want to go there yet. All right, so I'm going to go here. And we're going to go to Panama highlights. So we're going to see Panama City. We're going to see Koiba Island, and I'll go through all that. This is from the Parque Metropolitano. Oh, I don't want the volume on. I don't know, I get that. Oh, here, turn that off. Okay. All right, this is from the Smithsonian Institute on the Amador Causeway. You can see all of this stuff on the Amador Causeway out of Panama City. This is that nice walk along the causeway there, out along the ocean. Beautiful images of things, birds. Now, COVID has had an effect on a lot of these places, so you want to check to see if they're open. Most of them should be open now. When we were going, we found some places were still closed this past summer, but everything's kind of opening back up again. But you might want to check that ahead of time. We did a sea turtle program there. That was a lot of fun, marking nests where they were laying their eggs on the beach at night. This is in Panama City still, and a lot of beautiful things to see, a lot of great plants, a lot of, if you like butterflies, there's a lot of butterflies. And just a lot of insects overall. As you can imagine, it's in the tropics. You'll see these guys, the leaf cutting ants. There's a few species of those. Hermit crabs, you'll see those along the ocean. This is on Koiba Island. I'll get to that in a little bit later on. Beautiful place, isolated, protected, and just a lot of really neat things out there to see. There's that magnificent frigate bird flying over on one of the islands. And to get to Koiba Island, you have to take these boats. There's just one boat. There's not a dock, so you have to get out with all your gear and walk through the water. It's a lot of fun. And then so behind me, there is the island. And this island is primary, Koiba Island has primary rainforest, meaning there's not been anything cut. Vines are growing over the trees. You have to be careful. There are some saltwater crocs that are alligators, saltwater alligators that live in the water there. And again, this is from Koiba Island. If you really like those out of the place, these beautiful places to get to, but not a lot of people can get to, this is definitely worth a trip out. You see a lot of things that you won't see in other spots of Panama. And these beaches are absolutely beautiful, so that you would explore all these different islands. But you have to be careful. While I was looking at one of the Tanagers, that guy came up from behind me. And again, if you like snorkeling, things like that, there's all that out there for you to do. And you'll see the vultures, the black vultures all around. And then here we had sea turtles, and this is again off of Koiba Island. And this is the endemic agouti from Koiba Island. There's several different species of agouti. This is also on Koiba Island. You'll also have, there's a flock of scarlet macaws that live there. We went out there for those. We saw those. That was pretty neat. And then you get to, this is right outside of Panama City in Gamboa. You have the capybara. They're rodents, large rodents. And this is also, if you see these guys, keep your eyes out. Three-toed sloth right here. You also see yellow-headed caracara, a very common bird. And we also went to some other places where there were rescued animals. This was in Boquete. They make coffee in Panama. A lot of things to do beyond birding if you are going with somebody who's not a birder. And this is at the Soropta Canal in the Bocas del Toro region. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of water birds that are on this area, like wattle jacana, northern jacana, jasana. Some people, I think it's a Portuguese word, so it'd be jasana. Okay, that's enough of that. All right. But images are good. And, oops, I don't want that. I want to go back here. Okay. Now, 45 minutes away from Panama City is the destination. Most birders go straight here. If not the same day, they go to Gamboa. Gamboa is a huge wildlife area. Smithsonian Institute is based here, as is several other places like the Canopy Lodges here, etc. So you'll find these old parks that are not used anymore. This is on the Panama Canal. So the Panama Canal, for it to function, has to have a functioning rainforest. They don't have the rainforest there, the Panama Canal cannot happen. So they have to make sure that and maintain that these wild areas are wild so that the root system, the water, all that stuff is there. If they take those trees out, it dries up, and then the canal will not have the high level of water that it needs. And even then, they still have to dredge out the canal every day with these huge monster ships that do that. Anyhow, so the Panama Canal workers used to live there, and they had these parks, and they had all these beautiful style canal homes. And when they left, they also left the city, and so some of it is in, it's kind of needs to be fixed up. So you'll see a lot of different things here, but boy, is this a birdie place. Really, really nice to see. I have a friend there. His name is Ivan. Some people stay at the Canopy, what is it? The Canopy Tower. You may have heard of that. I'll show you a video of the Canopy Tower. Ivan he does his lodging through Airbnb, I think. So there are different methods for you to find a place and stay. I think even Canopy Family, we'll talk about those folks in just a little bit. They also offer a lodging here as well. So there are options. You just have to find creative ways of staying there. But yeah, Airbnb, and of course, once you know people, then they open up their place to you. So here's one of the parks here with Yogi the bear, and then they have these old-fashioned sides. I mean, it's really, really interesting. In the main park area of Gamboa, you have southern lapwings. Now you folks have the northern lapwings. This is the southern lapwing. Beautiful bird running all over the place. And this is the one area you see agouti. They're not hunted here. So you'll see agouti out on your walks. You also have the crested caracara. That's a nice bird. And a somewhat endemic bird to the area is the Panama Fly Catcher, which I think can go into Costa Rica a little bit, but this is the Panama Fly Catcher. It's one of the Myarchus birds. And then of course you've got, this is the basilisk, trying to think what, I'm not really sure. I took a picture of it. I think it's the basilisk. All right. Okay, and then I wanted to show you just some area around here. This is Gamboa. The Gamboa has this huge Rainforest Hotel. It's very expensive, I think, but it's got a lot of great area. Now during COVID, they were locking people who had COVID from flights from Brazil. On my last trip, there was a flight that came in from Brazil, and the whole plane broke out in COVID. They put them in this hotel because the hotel was shut down. So you had police staying here, and you had these people from Brazil, the Brazilians staying here. And it was basically open for birding. Normally you have to ask permission to get in here, but I was able to get in and take a look at everything. And that was really neat to be able to do. What you see in the left-hand corner, this is the gartered trogan. And then over here on the right side in the corner, we have the variable seed eater. This is the Pacific subspecies. There are two subspecies of variable seed eater. There's the other one is more of a blackbird with a little white on the wing. This Pacific subspecies is the other subspecies. All right, some of the hot spots here that people go to when they're in Gamboa there's the town. You can bird around the town. There's a lot of great places. There's the ammo ponds. The ammo ponds are ponds that are right before you get to the big place, which is the Pipeline Road. Pipeline Road is famous for all birders. They walk down this road. You see a lot of really amazing birds. And then of course you have the Panama Rainforest Discovery Center, as we saw in that previous video, where you can see a lot of hummingbirds. Now, at the time I went, a lot of it was closed and you needed special permissions to get onto the grounds there. But I think now a lot of it has opened up. But if you go to the town, let's just take a look at the town here on this eBird checklist. So here's a map, again, the map of the entire area. You've got this canal. There's the canal. If we go in, you'll see the town is right here. This is Gamboa. So if you go down this way, this all goes to Panama City. And then right here, you've got the central hub for the Panama Canal. So you have a lot of canal workers here. here's the city. And right in here, this is the park I was talking about where the southern lapwings are. And you have other birds in there, a lot of other birds. And what I did was I'd walk around this when I got done with my main walks and look for birds around here. There was a scarlet rump cacique that were around here. And then this area is really, really good for birds. And you could just walk the road along here and you get all kinds of birds. And what kind of birds can you see? Well, let's take a look. Gray-headed chachalaca, pale-vented pigeon, white-tipped dove, gray-chested dove, squirrel cuckoo. I didn't put any pictures in here. Cinnamon bacards were everywhere. Golden-collared manakin, streak-headed wood creeper. Anyhow, there are 49 species just by walking around the town there. So it's a real good place for that. All right. The next one we have, this is a big one, the ammo ponds. A lot of people go here, and I do have pictures of that. I did this trek. I did all this by myself. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with that, there are people that will be able to take you guiding, and you just have to ask. Black-bellied whistling duck, that was common down there. Purple gallinule, another easy bird to see down there. But you can always tell it's always kind of hiding in the brush. And this is the wattled jacana. That bird, because it was me walking along the road, I was able to sneak up on it and get really nice views of the bird with all the detail. Generally, these birds are skittish, so it just depends on how you approach. This is the one I wanted. This is the bird I was hoping for. This is the rufescent tiger heron, and it's one of the few spots that I could find that bird while I was in Panama. So there were 5 of them here. They were all hiding in the reeds, and just really neat birds. I think that's everything from that one. All right, and then the big one, the Pipeline Road. This is a big one. This is a must-see place. It's basically, it used to be the road where they had the pipe going into the canal, and they did everything. And it just became the Pipeline Road. Now it's just known as that. And this road is protected. It's a nature area now for birders and wildlife aficionados. And here, I don't know, I had 32 species here. Again, a lot of great birds. This is the one I want. I love manakins. Manakins are my favorite. And I heard these birds, sometimes they make a snap, sometimes they do a clap. Sometimes they have an electric zeet. Each of the manakins has a different call to it. But this blue-crowned manakin was a real treat to see. And the bird came right up to me. I called it in, and we were able to watch each other. He was defending a lecker territory that he was on. They were breeding at the time. A lot of really cool ones. The song wren, this one is a neat bird. That was in there. I didn't get a picture of it, but it's a good bird to see. And there were plenty of them in there. And then finally, the Panama Rainforest Discovery Center, fantastic place. A lot of great birds in here. Because it was closed, I only got 16 of them, but you get a lot of your hummingbirds in here. Snail kites were here. I got a nice picture of a snail kite. Violet-bellied hummingbird, blue-chested hummingbird, long-billed hermit, white-necked Jacobin, everywhere. These are all really, really nice birds. Anyhow, so if you're in Panama City, Parque Metropolitano, then you go to Gamboa, Pipeline Road, Panama Rainforest Discovery Center. Those are the 2 biggies. And don't forget the ammo ponds before you get to the Pipeline Road and Panama Rainforest Center. All right, so here's a shot of some of the area. It's always good to see that. This is the canal right here. And you are going to see some amazing birds fly. I mean, you'll have magnificent frigate birds perched out in the open, along with tropical kingbirds and the likes, all along up and down here. You might have a couple gulls. Gulls weren't a big thing, more like terns. You have maybe elegant or royal terns that are flying up and down this canal here. These old canal homes are really a treat. If you can stay in one of them, I highly recommend it. And again, my friend Ivan has this beautiful place he rents out on Airbnb. He used to do a bed and breakfast. He doesn't do bed and breakfast anymore. because of COVID, he changed it to Airbnb. Anyhow, this is a very nice, I had this floor. This is where I did my work at night, my research. And then up on the second floor, that's where the bedroom, the shower, all that stuff is. And then I had access to the kitchen so I could make my own meals because it's somewhat remote and isolated. There are not a lot of restaurants in that area. In fact, there's just one store that just opened up, and that was good because before there hadn't been a place for us to go, and so we relied on Yvonne to supply dinner for us. Well, now I went to the store. I was able to buy my food and prepare my food there, and it was great being able to cook your own food and not have to go to restaurants all the time. So you save money that way. The red-legged honey creeper, fantastic bird. This was at the park. I was just walking around the park. What a beautiful bird. A lot of different honey creepers. There's a shining honey creeper. I didn't see that one, but the red-legged were very plentiful. And then you have these old towers. There's some bats in here. Just be careful if you go in there. Some people like a little adventure. It's a nice place. Okay, so some other things about Gamboa, Smithsonian Institute research area. So there's going to be a lot of scientists in the area when you're there, and they're studying all kinds of birds. Do have, what is the one I have here? This is the yellow-throated toucan, the canopy. Oh, so this is going to be an important group coming up here if you're planning a trip here. The Canopy family headquarters is here at the Canopy Towers. This is the main birding group for the country of Panama. If you like to have organized trips that make dinners and they already have the place for you, etc. All of it is staged right here in Gamboa, and rightly so, because Gamboa is the birding center of Panama, just like Madera Canyon is here in Arizona. Tucson, Madera seem to be like the headquarters for a lot of things. We have a small store in Gamboa, so if you need to pick up some soda or something to drink, it's there. There's some hotels nearby. There are some stays. Oh, and they have the Panama Canal Museum. So if you like to see that, that's there. If you need a little break from birding, that's there, or a break from the heat in the afternoon. Generally, the rain hits about, again, 11 noon. You want to be done birding by then because the rain is going to come down. It's torrential and it lasts for about 2-3 hours in the afternoon. Always bring your umbrella with you, or if you've got something. And if there's lightning, do not play around with it. Lightning is a big thing. A lot of people get struck by lightning here in Arizona as well as down in Panama. The storms can be very strong. And of course, this place is very historic. So you see a lot of old homes and places that people used to work. It's a really neat area. It's a very special place. Gamboa is beautiful. All right. And again, here's some other, I don't know. They come up with some of these funny names. This was neat. I saw this. This is the plain xenops. That was at the hotel area. I was just walking around. This is just around the city. And I had a plain xenops just show up. That's Xenops. I don't know how it's pronounced there, but here it's pronounced the xenops. Southern lapwing, plain colored tanager. I don't know where they come up with these names, but there's nothing plain about this bird. It's gray, but if you look here, which you can't see, it's not a great picture, but it has a highlighted, like this fluorescent blue coloring on the wing, which is absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful bird. Blue crowned manakin, and of course the wattled jacana. So there's that. Okay, so, all right, now after Gamboa, if you're doing this on your own, you're planning your trip, you're doing your own, you have to make a choice. Do you want to go to Boquete, which is close to the Costa Rican border, or do you want to go to other places? I love Boquete because of the coffee. I love coffee, and I love the cooler weather. So a lot of people travel here, and they go, let's see if I can move this bar up here. A lot of people go up here and they take the 6-hour bus ride, or you could fly in, I suppose, too. And they do some birding up here in this beautiful area, but it is rainy a lot of the day in the summertime if you go. In the wintertime, again, it's the best time to go. It's dry season if you can afford to do it in the winter. It's also a little bit more money too, because people know that, it's dry season. So a lot of people come to go birding during that time period. So it's worth it. I did most of the birding myself, except for some areas where I couldn't get up to the higher elevations because, again, COVID was just you know, it was just kind of opening up a little bit more. So people were starting to travel more again, but the infrastructure wasn't there. So I hired a local guide by the name of Jason Lara, who used to have a company, and because COVID happened, he was not able to bird full time. So he had to take up some other work to support his family or whatnot. But this guy is amazing. Jason did a fantastic job. So I did most of the birding around Boquete, had a lot of fun there. And then when the places I couldn't get to, then I called him, and then he took me out for the day to go and get those higher level birds up in the mountains. One of the places, if you go to Boquete, this coffee plantation area, is to the Finca Lerida for proper coffee. And here's what, let's take a look at a checklist here. This is with Jason. I went up here, and so we had, for the day, we had 39 species at this place. I think you can even stay up here at the Finca Lerida. It's a must bird spot. You've got white-tipped dove, white-collared swift. You have lesser violet ear. These are not great pictures, by the way, but you could, because it was so dark and rainy. This is the, oh, that's right. They split the magnificent magnificent hummingbird, and now it's the Talamanca hummingbird. So that was that. We had these parakeets. Where are they? Sulfur-winged parakeets. Not a great picture. Chestnut cap brushfinch is a bird I was looking for. These were pretty easy, pretty accommodating. The one that I want to show you that a lot of people want to see when they come is, look at this. Look at this stunning bird, rosy thrush tanager. And you know what? They're secretive too. They're stinkers to have come out in the open. But I saw both the male and the female there. So that is a bird worth seeing if you get a chance to. And what a treat that was. All right. And that was at the Lerida. Then we had the flame-colored tanager. This is one that rarely, but usually one or two of them come up to southern Arizona for the summer to breed. They were all over here, flame-colored tanager. Then we have the slaty flower piercer right here. That's a nice one, beautiful bird. All, again, these are birds you can find in southern Costa Rica, northern Panama. You got the streak saltator. This looks like a juvenile. And the saltators, you might want to look those over because they've been split this year into 3 or 4 different species. So check that out as well. All right. What else can I tell you? Oh, okay. I have for you this right here. So at Finca Lerida, this was a real treat, and Jason knew about this. This is the thing about hiring guides. Sometimes it's nice to have somebody who knows the area and knows the tricks with some things. And he didn't tell me about this, but take a look at this. This is the flame-colored tanager. I had a carrot cake, and the bird came up and is eating the frosting. Now, should it be doing that? No, but it did. And so the flame-colored tanager just came up to my table, and it was fun to see. And it was kind of a rainy, if I recall, it was a little bit rainy too. So there's that. All right, I want to get out of this. No, I don't want that. Uh-oh, no, I don't want that. Okay. There it is right there. Okay. Out of there. Another, since we're on this right now, I wanted to show you this. These people, these guides in Panama, I don't know. In the United States, we're not so good at it. But in Panama, they were able to take pictures, these amazing pictures and videos using their scope. Now, some people are good at it. I am not. I am not great at all. But yeah, there was a dark peewee calling, and I heard the peewee. I recognize the peewee call because we have several peewees here in Arizona, and they're very similar in call. Anyhow, so Jason took my phone and he recorded this dark peewee coming right up to there it is. From the distance, I mean, it was a long, long distance away. Dark peewee, what a treat. Came out and perched, and this was again at the Finca Lerida. So that coffee plantation is magic. So just check it out, and I think you'll be happy. All right. Also in Boquete, Be creative with your hotels and where you stay. I again went on Airbnb and I found this place up there. I'll give you the name in just a moment. But I found a huge amount of hummingbird feeders, and snowy bellied hummingbird is up there, rufous tail hummingbirds. And I also had a violet saber winged. I had a long billed star throat. Those all came up to the feeders. It was a real treat. So this is amazing, amazing. So I just had to go out my room and you count all the, look at that beautiful rufous tail, fantastic. And there's a snowy bellied right there. You can tell that beautiful white, bright white belly. And there's the rufous tail. You can see that, you know, some of the hummingbirds look so similar, but after a while, after you observe them for a while, you get them down. But look at it's a constant fight. Hummingbirds everywhere, everywhere down there. Boquete is a great spot. Highly recommend it. So check it out. Okay, going back now, we'll talk more about that later on. Nope, nope, I don't want that. Oh no. Okay. New word. Okay. And from current slide, here we go. All right, so Boquete, great place. A lot of tourists go there just to escape. It's a beautiful place, but it also has a lot of great nature trails and whatnot. You have indigenous people that are there, so you'll see people in their indigenous, you know, the locals. They're the local people. Rufous collared sparrows, just everywhere, beautiful. One of the few sparrows they have down there. I love sparrows. Rufous collared sparrow. This is a male, female, juvenile, possibly. I'm not sure. This here, I think, is a juvenile. This is the streaked saltator. Now let me talk to you about this. On the left-hand corner, on the bottom left-hand, some of the places like they call it the Sendero de los Quetzales. It's where you can see the resplendent quetzal. Unfortunately, with COVID happening last year and the year before, things have not been maintained, and so we were not able to get into this park like I had hoped. I love quetzals. I've seen them. I've seen two different species of quetzales. And unfortunately, the bridge, the sky bridge that they had in the park collapsed because it wasn't being maintained because the workers weren't there to do it. And so they had to repair everything. Now, have they repaired it now? I don't know. But we weren't allowed to go in the park. We were just allowed to go outside the park and see that area. But there were park rangers there making sure we didn't try to go on the trail because it's too dangerous. Carrot cake with coffee, great pastry shops all over the place, great restaurants. Boquete is a good place to go. You can do your birding, you can do all kinds of things. You'll get a lot of lifers, a lot of really great views. And then of course you got more hummingbirds there. This one is, what is this one? It's a mountain gem of some kind, but a white-throated mountain gem, I think it is. So there's that. And again, here's some of the birds, the rufous and white. I went walking one day and I had a rufous and white wren on the left side here. This is a great bird. This is one of my favorites. Because they're so vocal. They just they have this chat. And then down here at the upper elevation, I wanted to see this little tiny hummingbird. This is the scintillant hummingbird. That's a great one. It's a little bit more work to find, but that was fun. And then these guys are all over the place here. These birds, this is the rufous tail hummingbird from my hotel room. And this is Finca Lerida. This is the trail that goes there. And there were a lot of great birds there. Bocas del Toro. Again, this area is a bunch of islands off the Caribbean or around the Caribbean. And to get there, there's a little bit of planning. But again, you have a lot of great opportunities, but it's kind of out of the way. So if you do decide to do that, I would highly recommend doing Boquete, then Bocas del Toro. Okay. Those two places are somewhat closer to each other and they have a lot of good birds. Let's see here. They're known for their frogs on some of the islands. The place we stayed was at a chocolate place where they had a butterfly farm. And it's on Bastimientos Island. Bastimientos is great because there's a lot of really great birding and a lot of great trails around there. So highly recommend it. Again, you have to go from the mainland. You have to take a boat over to Bocas del Toro to do that. And there's a banana kit all over the place. And we have a mistletoe tyrannulet right over here. One of my favorite. That was a really neat bird. Anyhow, so Bastimientos Island right here. Also, if you want to see the sea turtles, you can go to Soropta Canal. Oops. Koiba Island, again, Koiba Island. It's on the opposite direction. It's on the Pacific side. It's an island off the Pacific. If you want to see endemics like the spine-tail, the Koiba spine-tail, you'd have to go specifically there to see it. And again, really, really great place. This used to be like an Alcatraz, an island for Alcatraz. The prisoners, political prisoners and whatnot were sent here. And there was a lot of murders and assassinations that happened on this island. So basically, it was a place where it was a prisoner's island that was only developed at the tip, and there was no place for them to escape. If they tried to get off the island, the current usually took them and they drowned, you know, so it wasn't possible. So anyhow, this island has been safe and protected for many years. Primary rainforest, just fantastic, beautiful island. You can tell it's primary because it has vines growing out on the top of the canopy of the forest. And that is a true primary rainforest. It's just beautiful, and a lot of wildlife everywhere, not familiar with people. And to get to anywhere, your guide that we had, you have to go to a village, and then a guide will be there and they can take you out to this island. And then you would stay at the park ranger place. Smithsonian's out on these islands out here, Smithsonian Institute's here. Now they own these islands, and so the boat launches around here. They drop you off on the bottom down here on the right side, and then you go to the shore, and then they take you out all over the island to see the scarlet macaws, to see some of these. You might see the endemic howler monkeys from Koiba that are specific to the island, and of course the saltwater alligators. So they're all over. All right, so that's a worthy trip, but that does take a full week if you're going to do that, probably even more. All right, this is the big one right here. So we went to the Darien Gap, and I have to tell you, I have planned all these trips to Panama myself. I've done all this, and I have not had to use a company before. I don't like using companies if I don't have to. But with the Darien, you have to do it because a lot of this is on indigenous people's lands, and you can't get access to the ranchers or whatever without having a permit. And thankfully, the Canopy family has all of that. So you don't have to think about it. You get up and they take you there and you see these amazing birds. And so we had a really nice time, and it's safe. And I'm going to tell you why you also probably want to have an organized trip for this. The road conditions are really bad there. Some of the roads are the holes all over the place. I'll show you a video. I'm not going to spend too much time on the video, but I'll show you some of the spots that we went to. It's the same exact trip that we took. And a lot of this is through canoes. So you have to get onto waterways to get into this wild area. The Darien Gap is where the Pan American Highway does not connect. So it goes all the way from Alaska down to the tip of Central America. Then you got to get on a boat, go over to Colombia, and then drive the rest of the highway down to Chile. But for that part, there's no highway, so it's all muddy. You've got Aplamata Falcon here. This is for a day. We went to go find the Harpy Eagle. We took this canoe out to this private farmer's area. The guides are fabulous. They're really good. The Canopy Camp is down by Yavitsa, which is the southern part. This is a tent. You stay in a tent down there. It's open. It's wonderful. You get to hear all the sounds. At the end of the day or during the day, they serve dinner here in this veranda area. And you got hummingbirds all over. And you got these really cool white-bellied antbirds as well. So there's that. And the Canopy family. This is one of the birds we saw on our tour. Spectacled parrotlet, which was really neat. It was on a very cloudy day, so I'm happy to have a picture of that with that. And here's the Canopy Camp. This is the Blacktail Trogan, which is a really good bird to see. And here are some pictures. And the reason why I also chose, as a Spanish teacher, I know a lot of the area because I've done a lot of research over the decades doing this profession. One of the things that we had an issue with, well, it could have been an issue. we had a lot of, at the time, there was the Haitian crisis going on. And so we had a lot of people going up and down the river. And if we, there was a lot of police presence there. There was a lot of border patrol presence there. So having a company navigate us through all of this was quite an experience. I don't know how to respond to it other than it was an experience. And it was very, here we are as birders taking pictures of everything, and there are these people coming up trying to find a safe life, a safe passage through. It was a bit overwhelming, to say the least, and it was sometimes it was a bit emotional seeing some of these people come through as they were trying to make their way up through Mexico, through Central America to the United States border, and that was hard to see. But there were a lot. There were hundreds of people going up and down this river, trying to make it to the border, the Panamanian border, because they had to come from. I think they had to get to Colombia and then move on. We have a bunch of beautiful woodpeckers here that are really neat. This is one of them that we saw, I think the spot-breasted woodpecker. We have the white-headed wren. Let's see here. Oh, the king vulture. What a treat that was. That's at the camp. They have a little area, a trail you can walk at the camp there where they feed king vultures. They're huge. This was, this was probably the toughest thing that I did on that tour, which was that hike up that muddy hill I nearly died on. You need to bring a lot of water with you. And I was sharing my water because as a teacher, that's what I do, I share. And I ran out of water. We ran out of drinks in the cooler because one of the guides brought the drinks up, and then we ran out, and I had to get back. So I had to take a horse ride back down to the main ranch after that. But it was a good day. Just that last part was a little bit rattling, a lot of mud, and I lost my boots. You need to have a good pair of boots, mud boots, to get through everything. And then here's the end of the road of the Pan American Highway at Yavisa. Yavisa is it's a really interesting place. It has a lot of stories, and it could be interesting. All right, so I want to show you just real quick, but I don't want to do that. Maybe I do. Well, real quick before I'll go on to questions after, but the greater Ani was one of the birds I was hoping to see, got to see it. We have the red-billed scythebill, which this bill is just amazing. It's incredible. That was the strangest looking bird I saw last year. And then these guys are they're critically threatened, critically endangered. These are the great green macaws. We actually saw a wild flock in this rainforest patch in the Darien. What a treat that was. So that was really neat. Okay, I want to show this video here. So you can go on to YouTube and you can take a look at this. In Gamboa, going back to Gamboa, this is the Canopy Tower. And I don't want the volume here because the volume lags. This is the road that goes up to this tower. It's an old military surveillance area. This is a US military defense site. Well, this is where you would stay. If you stayed with the Canopy Tower group, you would stay there in the morning, you'd get up and you'd go sit up on top of that tower and you would look at all these amazing birds. It's an incredible place, very beautiful. This is the headquarters for the Canopy family. That's what they call it, the Canopy family. This is the Canopy Tower. There are 3 places that they have: Canopy Tower, Canopy Lodge, and Canopy Camp. And each are in strategic areas of Panama. So this is the Gamboa area. The rooms are wonderful. And but if you're not good going up and down stairs and there's no elevator on this may not be the place for you to stay. But I think it's worth it. If you can get up and down the stairs, because on the top, the view from the top of that tower is incredible. And my friends were able to see, because they went on with the tour when I broke off from them. I went with them to the camp, and then I like to do everything on my own. I'm an independent birder. And I left them with the Canopy Tower, and they got to see the harpy eagle there. There's a female that's been around for about 11 years, and she's never left the area. I was excited for them to see that. So that was really cool. Anyhow, it's a great place. Canopy Tower, check it out if you're interested and you want a place to stay. This is right in Gamboa. You can see the city, Panama City, from that location. That's how close it is. but crimson-back tanager, common everywhere. There's the Panama Canal, Joffrey's Tamarind, and of course, people with their big lenses. And oh, I want to tell you about this. This is what I liked about the Canopy tour, is that they had everybody sit down at night and we went over all the birds we saw. And we had a checklist and we checked off everything. And then if somebody didn't see something really well, the guide would say, well, we'll try to see that one again. And boy, did they do a good job on that. And when they saw the bird again, they would point it out to the person who didn't see it. So that's why that was a lot of fun. And sometimes it was a little bit tedious too, because you just wanted to go to bed and sleep. And that's that. All right. Beautiful views. That's the Canopy Tower. At the Canopy Camp. Uh-oh. What happened here? I'm frozen. Oh, there we go. And this, I'm not, okay. This is why we went on the tour to the Canopy Camp, because again, this is a very difficult area to get to. Not getting out of Panama City, that's fine. But once you go past the county of Panama City, they don't pay for the roads to be fixed up. And so the roads start turning into potholes. And as you can see, look at, so it's really more of a, it's not a north and south kind of country. But look at some of these roads. This Pan American Highway gets quite bumpy and quite rocky. But again, this person's in Panama City. Laughing Falcon up on the top there, we saw that. That was a neat place. So along the way, they take you at these stops. And if they see a good bird, they'll stop. The Koiba Heron, that's a beautiful one. Koiba, I think it's Koiba. We saw that in Trinidad. Squirrel cuckoo. And they just take you along the highway, all along the highway. You stop at these hot spots and you take a look. There's Slaty-tailed Trogan. And you've got some of the hummingbirds here. And you've got blue-throated golden-tail. That was one of our target birds that we had. So what else do we have here? And here's the camp that we stayed at. Beautiful area where we'd have dinner in that back table there. They'd have drinks for you if if you wanted to have soda or if you wanted to have something cool to drink, that was there. Out here, everything's run on solar with emergency generators just in case. And we did have to use the emergency generators sometimes. But the flowers in the garden attract all these amazing birds. There are some trails around the camp that you could take a look at. Really, really nice. You've got a lot of great birds. Here's the male crest eagle. That's a fantastic bird, if you can see that one. And a lot of these birds just pop in. Oh, the red-throated caracaras were there. So let's see here. There's sapphire-throated hummingbird. That was a common bird at their feeder. That was very, very tricky. Violet-bellied hummingbird, also very common. Whooping Mothma, I had them right on our outdoor shower. This is one everybody goes to see. It's an endemic great cheek nunlet. Spot crown barbet, fantastic bird. That was also there. Cinnamon woodpecker, also very, very good bird. An endemic Chococerstis, that was a good one. White shouldered tanager, we saw that in Panama City, so you can get that everywhere. And of course, we had Joffrey's Tamarind with babies. And then a lot of these places, they'll take you on a day-to-day. You go to these villages and they take you out on the canoes.
Pardon this interruption.
And
This is just a quick reminder.
all right,
that
it's
there
a,
is an all-staff meeting in the
and then here you've got the so you've got the harpy eagle from that farmer's area, the rancher there, but you have to take this crazy path, this muddy path, and they bring horses and things like that. So anyhow, you could do the research on there. There's the Canopy family. And let me go back to Zoom here. And I think I could just stop share. Now, can you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So so there's three areas. One is the Valle d'Anton. It's another area that a lot of birders go to, and it's for the lodge. People ask me, well, which order would you do? If you want to start off with a rough experience, go to the Darien camp first. Do that one down, do the canopy camp first, then do maybe the tower, and then do the lodge. The lodge is kind of a posh, a nicer place to end your trip with. And the tower is nice, but you're doing a lot of walking up and down, and that hill is pretty killer, going up and down that windy road. It's on a hill, so access is a little bit trickier there, but the lodge is nice and relaxing. So they're all really good. Again, the Canopy Camp, Darien, Canopy Lodge in the El Valle de San Anton, which is a crater. It's a higher elevation. And then there's the Canopy Tower in Gamboa. Those are the three hot spots where the Canopy family operates.
21.
All right. I'll open it up if anybody has any questions at all.
Has anyone got any questions for Chris? I think you've covered it quite comprehensive there.
There is a question in the chat.
Oh,
From Jean. She asks, sorry, start again. The area is a big country, but are there wildlife corridors for the birds to migrate, or are the birds mostly local to the area?
so that's a great question. And yes, there are migrant birds that are found up in North America during the winter time. So you'll find a lot of our warblers that breed up in the United States, in Panama, down there. But there are, so we like to go in the summer. My friend Gordon says, why do I want to go in the winter time when there's going to be all of our, our summer birds are going to be down there? Well, I mean, it's interesting, but he's got a point. So summertime we generally go, because then we see a different group of birds and the local birds. So summertime is better for that. Winter is better because you get, if you can't get to the United States or Mexico, you get to see our migrant birds that make it up there during the summertime. So you get double wham. I don't know what the expression is, but you'll see double the amount of birds down there in the wintertime. Yeah.
Chris, you commented about the pleasure you had seeing that they'd actually rewilded some of the area around the airport and developed that. I just wondered, I mean, one of the things generally comes up in a lot of the talks is actually the effect of climatic change in different destinations. And, if you've visited there a couple of times actually over a time span, how's that part of the world coping with climatic change, or is it a threat? Is it are there noticeable changes?
That's a great question. What we're seeing in Panama, or what they've told me in Panama, is that the dry season, which is winter, is getting drier and things catch on fire. And so they lose that habitat because there's not enough moisture there. So things are drying a little bit longer. The dry season's lasting a little bit longer, and then the monsoon season, which is the rain season, is a little bit stronger, more flooding, etc. So you've got a dry, longer winter season and a wetter, stronger flooding possibility and hurricane area during the monsoon. So a lot of they have had some really bad hurricanes come and hit them on the Caribbean coast.
You commented as well that the Panama Canal is actually dependent on the rainforests being maintained and the water flow into those systems. So what you described of getting drier and wetter at different times, that must be causing some challenges, I would imagine.
It is. And some of that water, what's happening is there's much more sand flowing in now. So they have to dredge more in the river because there's more of that, the silt, I think that's what they use, silt comes in, and they're having issues with that.
As well, but I think one of the other issues they have in Central America, because I know it's a bit of an issue with their neighbors in Costa Rica. Like Chris was showing some photos of some of the poison arrow frogs that they get there,
Yeah.
and a lot of birding in the near tropics. You get like a similar species, but you get a different species at different elevations. And I know I heard it was a bit of an issue with some of the species of frogs because of the drier climate, the warmer climate. The issue is for those species that live at the top of mountains, because those at lower elevations can migrate up the mountain and sort of start to inhabit a different elevation, but those at the top can't go any further up the mountain. So, you know, that can cause extinction. So I think that's a bit of a worry in Central America.
A lot of those frogs breed in the bromeliads or, you know, up in the trees and things like that. And they're not getting the water in some of those plants, and those plants are disappearing. And that's usually a breeding area for some specific species of amphibian, like the frog.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions, Rion? Oh, I think you're muted at the moment, Rion.
How's this?
That's better. We can hear you now. Yeah.
Good. It wasn't the mute, it was the microphone.
Okay.
Yeah, just a quick question. If you're just taking one field guide to Panama, I take it the Birds of Central America would be the one to take?
I think it's a great book because it's got all the birds in it, you know, so you might have some rare birds that show up that may not be in that guide. So I do take that one, yes. And all of us agreed from a group that the Birds of Central America was the book. And they just released it, I think this year or last year, excuse me. That's the most recent comprehensive bird guide for Central America. And you'll use it not only in Panama, but if you go to Costa Rica, Guatemala, all of those places.
Right, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'll put an order in.
Yeah. All being well, me, Rion, and Gareth are going to be going there next February, I think. Yeah. Did you get any? Did you see any golden wing warblers when you were there?
No, I did not. I did not see any golden wing warblers. No, those would be in wintertime. Winter is generally when all of our warblers are down there. And now this month, in March, our warblers start coming back up again. So the eastern part of the United States will get those warblers from the Caribbean, South America, Central America, and we'll get ours. We have quite a few of them from Mexico that come up. So Central America and Mexico are generally the Western warblers that come up and will breed. And so March, April especially, April is the hot month for a lot of those migrant warblers.
Is that in Panama or in your neck of the woods?
In my neck of, in Tucson, we start seeing all those warblers come back.
Yeah.
So for us in Southeastern Arizona, a lot of people come birding here in April and May because all of those birds start coming into the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Rightio. So if anyone's got any more questions, I think we'll finish it off now, and maybe Chris could take the odd question after just giving the vote of thanks. So I'd just like to say thank you very much, Chris, for giving us your time, and great to see you again, and really enjoyed you showing us all the birding hotspots around Panama, especially because hopefully a few of us are going to be going next year, all being well. With regards to the Canopy Tower, can you just go for a few days, or do you have to go for like a week there?
So you could go, I think it's a few days. If you wanted to go there, but you have to pay like a fee to get, so you could go for a day, but the people that stay at the tower get privileges to go first out on the roof to see all those birds in the morning. But you would have to pay to go if you're just going just to visit the tower. If you stay there, I don't know if it's a 2-night or 3-night minimum or something like. You'd have to call and let them know. But you can Google that online. And again, Carlos and Dionelis. Dionelis is the person that organizes a lot of that for Carlos. Carlos is the leader of the Canopy group. Really, really good people.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciated your talk and showing us the photography, and also good to see how the eBird works. It is starting to catch on over here as well, but I do like the way you can do your individual lists and put your photos in and stuff. That does look pretty good, and the map as to where you walked on the day and things like that. So yeah, well, much appreciated, Chris, and hopefully I'll see you sometime soon on your side of the pond. So thanks. Yeah, much appreciated. Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.